What's going on, everyone? I'm Johnny, and I'm here to go ahead and give my predictions on the Stage 2 Major and what I think is just going to happen. It is starting tomorrow on Wednesday. It is late Tuesday right now. And I think I want to make this channel, I want to make some videos on some CDL news stuff because I do keep up with it. I've been keeping up with it since Black Ops 1. Like every year except for some of the jetpack odds. So whenever something big comes out, I think I'm gonna just start making videos on them and give my opinions on it. And I do have my opinions on LA Thieves and everything, but I'm just gonna wait until after the major to make a video on them and what I think they should do, because I think there's something that a lot of people are actually missing on what the LA Thieves can do. Not really only to get better, but what could prepare them for next year. So with that being said, let me get into just like quick analysis of each series that's going to go on for the major, and then on Monday I can go over, you know, how well I did as far as picking and any highlights from the tournament, and I can go over that. So let's start. We're going to go day by day, starting with Wednesday. We have LAG versus the Florida Mutineers, and with this one I'm going to go 3-1 with the Mutineers, and the reason is, even though LAG has been doing really well as of late, this is what I think of their team. Vivid, very consistently good. Assault, very consistently average. They're very dependent on either apathy, silly, or both of them to go off, and that's when they do well. But most of the time, it's like very average from pretty much silly, app, and assault. With sometimes a glimpse of good performances. And I know Mutineers haven't been doing well, but I think especially during tournament time, I think Awakening turns up. I think him and Skies are phenomenal, and they're gonna figure it out. They've had too many bad series in a row. I don't think they're gonna have another bad series, especially, again, they're in elimination. They're literally in losers round 1. So I don't think they're gonna do bad here. And Slacked has been very consistent, making great ready plays. I know Neptune still has some things to learn, clearly, but he's obviously talented, and he can do really well. He comes up clutch in some great moments. So I just think that the Mutineers are going to take this one 3-1. Going over to Paris and Thieves. Don't hate me, please, but I think this is a quick 3-0, and the reason is because I think they're going back to where they started, where they were pushing the best teams to the limits, and they're beating a good amount of the lower bracket teams. And at this moment, I think LA Thieves are the worst team in the league based off the last couple performances. And I know they made the change where they put Slash on the bench for Draza. The lack of IGL, or at least it seems, and the roles seem kind of confusing to me a little bit, because even though Kenny can run AR, running main AR is different from being able to use an AR. And so Kenny, maybe he'll be the best main AR we've ever seen, but it's tough to say. And just the state that they're in right now, I don't think the change that they made is really going to be drastic. And I think Paris, the way that they are right now, as long as Fire doesn't completely shit the bed at the AR role, I think it's gonna be a 3-0. They're strong in pretty much all of the game modes, the way, at least what it looked like at the beginning of the year. So I'm gonna go off of how they looked when they ran the roster, the way that they went back to right now. All right, so going into Thursday, so losers round 2, I'm gonna go 3-2 here, and that's just because I think, like I said, Mutineers have not looked so hot. I think Mutineers are better than LAG, but I think the way that Seattle is, they are always keeping it close even when they lose, and they've been winning. And that's why they're in losers round 2 right now, not losers round 1, is just because they've been doing way better. And I think the thing is, Prestini's been doing a lot better. And so hopefully he keeps that up. I think Looney, the thing is that Prestini and Looney, neither of them are really slayers. Or at least most of the time. Prestini's been doing hot, but usually, you know, he's not. But Looney is good enough, like, he has good game awareness where even when he's doing bad, he's still doing the right thing. So he's still contributing positively in some way, shape, or form. It's really best based on Pristini and how well he's doing. And when he's doing better, I think it makes it a lot easier for Octane and Gunless, because what a lot of people don't talk about with Octane is that he spends a lot of time in the hill, and he's amongst one of the top ARs in the league, literally like the last 3 years, with a lot of time in the hill. So when Pristini can run around a little bit, get some of those outside kills, and Octane can get, you know, his kills plus get his time, and it just, I think it all forms to mesh really well. So I think that'll happen, and that's why I'm choosing the Surge to beat Mutineers. Here we got the Royal Ravens versus Legion. I'm gonna make this one a 3-2. Oh shoot, that's not what I wanted. Here we go. And the reason is because I think Paul X does really well against some of the lower tier teams, which I think Paris is one of the lower tier teams, kind of. They're really like 7 below. But Ravens have been getting beat down. Paul X hasn't been doing as well lately. I don't know if that has something to do with the team themselves, where I don't think they're going to get demolished from the Legion. I don't think that they're just going to bounce back. Dylan has one of the worst KDs in the league. He's just not been looking like the Dylan of Black Ops 4. And it's taking a while. Everyone knows he has the talent, but it's taken a while for him to really show that he can duplicate that performance, or at least get close to it. Even with the Zed and everything, they just need to find their form. I think they'll find it a little bit where they'll take 2 maps. Maybe like one of the controls, or maybe Paris might even go up 2-0 and the Ravens might win the control and then the next hard point. But then I think Legion's just a better S&D team. So I went with them. All right, so we're going to move on to the winners. Optic versus Ultra. I think Optic's in a 3-0. I just don't have faith in Ultra like that. I honestly, even though they're in winners round 1 right now, I think Ultra is like a bottom 4 team. They are just really weird. Insight's been doing really well. I think Cammy's completely underrated. I think Cammy's just like a Aqua, where Aqua's been getting a lot of praise this year, which is great. I think he's been one of the better ARs, honestly, of recent. And I think Cammy doesn't get as much respect as she deserves, because he killed it at the end of last year as well. But I think Optic is looking really strong after their last couple performances, and especially after the Dallas dub. That was huge. And so I just don't think Ultra's really in a position to stop that momentum that Optic has at the moment. With the New York Subliners and Empire, this is incredibly tough for me. Really tough. But I think it's going to end up being a 3-1. I think Empire is going to end up taking all of the respawns, and New York's going to take the S&D. This might sound weird because New York has just been like really good. And honestly, if I had to choose, I want New York to win. But I don't think Dallas is going to come off of that loss with Optic and just be the same that they were against New York as they were against Optic. I think Dallas is still the number 2 best team. I think New York is the 3rd best team right now in the league if we're just going off of how consistent play. But I do think Empire just has that little edge on the respawn still with the subliners. Even though ASIM has been great, Clayster has been great, Diamond Con has been looking great as well. Mac, it's just tough. I think Hook and Shotzi are really what it is. I think Hook and Shotzi are going to come out extra hot after that last series. And I think they're going to kind of dominate, honestly. If I had to make a guess, I think they're going to come out and dominate. Which Hook and Shotzi can win series, just them two, especially respawns. All right, this is going on longer than I thought. This is tough. All right, so what do we got here? Friday now, right? We'll start with the winners here. FaZe versus Optic. It's tough. I'm gonna go 3-1 FaZe. I'll give Optic maybe like the control. I love Optic. They're my favorite team. I'm from Chicago. Optic has always been my team, even before franchising. But it's just Atlanta is on a whole different level. I don't think anyone's really that close. And it's a weird thing where they look like they couldn't get any better, but I think they're getting better, literally game by game. I mean, I know they lost LAG, but that's like one of those like step backs, like they're one day where they have that's just randomly bad. You know, you always have those games where one team just looks randomly, the great team looks randomly bad. It makes no sense. But then they just come right back, and then they're just getting better and better. And then sooner or later, they're going to lose another series, which is just them playing randomly bad. And then it's going to be the same thing. So I just think right now, I think it's clear Atlanta. I think they're going to win the whole tournament, but we're going to go through series by series. And then we have Minnesota versus Dallas. I do think Dallas is going to take this one. I'm going to say 3-0 on this one. I know the S&D has not been there for Empire, but I don't think they're going to lose every single S&D of the weekend. I think Minnesota is going to be the team that they end up winning, and end up winning because they're coming off of a hot 3-1, I believe, from New York, and I think they're going to have lost that S&D. I think they're going to go over it a lot more, knowing that they're playing a strong S&D team in Rocker. They might even solely just focus on it, and I don't think Standy is like the greatest S&D player. He hasn't shown that he's been the greatest. He's been doing well, but he's not like been insane in S&D or done anything to me that's been like, other than the first series that he played and he went like 12-3. But I don't think he's like a game-changing S&D player. And so for that reason, I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to pick that as the team. I might sound crazy. It might end up being crazy, but that's what I'm going to go with. So moving on to the losers now. Losers round 3. I'm definitely on this one. It's tough. Really, really tough. I do think Ultra is gonna win 3-1. If it goes to a game 5, I think Seattle wins, but I think it's gonna be Toronto winning 3-1. I think they're gonna take all the respawns, just because even though I said how well Surge has been doing, I don't have faith. It's a gut feeling type of thing. I don't have faith that the Surge are gonna come out and win and keep going. I think they're gonna take their dub against the Mutineers, and then I think they're gonna fall here. They just have to show me more within the stage that they can like consistently just keep winning and winning and winning. Or they gotta show me in one tournament. This might be the tournament where they show me where they can go further, but it just, I haven't seen them go further. It seems like when the tournament comes, as good as they may have looked like they might have progressed, they get stopped short. It's just weird. And I know this is the second tournament that they've played together as a team, but it's just in general with like Octane's team the last 2 years, it's just what it's looked like. It's like even last year his team was terrible. I understand that, but there were times where it's like maybe, you know, something's happening, and then it just doesn't. So even though their team's a lot better this year than it was last year, this is just how I feel. All right. So we're moving on to New York versus Paris, 3-0. I don't think I really need to talk about it. I think Paris is gonna look a lot better since they reverted back to what they were doing before. But I think it ends there. All right, man. This is. All right, to go into Saturday, there's going to be 2 matches here Saturday. Okay, so Minnesota and Ultra. I think it's going to actually be a close series. I think it's going to be 3-2. I think Toronto is going to take probably the control. They might win the first hard point, and then they might take the first or the control, or they might honestly win both hard points. I don't think they're going to win an S&D, and I think that's what's gonna make them lose to Rocker. I think Rocker are gonna definitely take the S&D, and then I think the Rocker is gonna take one of the respawns. I don't think they're gonna lose 3 respawns to the Ultra. So that's why I picked the Rocker there. And then between Optic and the Subliners, this one is hard as hell for me. I think it's gonna go 3-2 to Optic because I think Optic just want to prove something right now. And I think it's gonna go to that last S&D. Optic probably this is gonna be a situation where Optic should have won 3-0 or 3-1 in the series, but they don't. And so it forces them into a game 5, just like the Dallas series. They honestly should have won 3-0 in the Dallas series, but they went over to game 5. But I think they're going to end up taking this game 5. I think they'll be on their S&D here. I think they're a better S&D team than New York, and the stats might not show that. But I think overall, just the players on their team and the way that they play, I think they're a little better in S&D. I think the subliners are okay in S&D in a sense where like they can just take a dub because they're just good at teamwork, but they don't make the extra like risky plays, I don't think, which I think Envoy is going to be the factor here where he can make those ready plays and win the game for them. And so here we get Optic versus Rocker rematch, where I do think Optic is going to win 3-1. I think the Rocker are going to take the S&D on Optic here, but I think Optic are going to take all the respawns. We did see the Rocker kind of fall back into this kind of like, ooh, shaky hardpoint. Are they back into the old way that their hardpoints were? I'm not sure. But I think Optic's going to show that there is a little bit of a struggle back with their respawns, and that the Rocker are going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure that out. And then we get to Sunday. Sunday. A lot of talking here, man. A lot of talking late at night. But got to get this done. All right. So, let's see. Now we got Atlanta FaZe versus Empire. I'll say it's a close match. I'll give it a close one. I'll give it a 3-2. I'll say that FaZe take the game 5 against Empire, which now drops the Empire down against Optic. And as much as this kills me, and I don't want this to be the case, this is the point where I think Optic do something dumb. Until Optic shows me that they can consistently play at the caliber that everyone knows that they can play, I think this is going to be a 3-0. And again, the reason for me is that Optic never just like kind of slip up to me. They look so hot and then they get destroyed. Like, it's not like they'll be going hot and then they just like, and then the last match that they lose to get out of the tournament is like a close game. It just, to me, it feels like when I watch them, they look like they're gonna be the best team or one of the best teams, and then their momentum gets halted, like to a straight whole brick wall just slams. They just collapse. And that's what it feels like happens. And I honestly, sucks to say, but I feel like that's what's going to happen here. Okay, we're at the end here. And then we got FaZe and Empire. I'll go like 5-2. I'll give Empire 2 matches. But I think that's gonna be it. That's gonna be my bracket. I just think Atlanta's too strong. I don't even really think Empire are probably gonna win 2. They might win 1. They might not win any. But that's what I feel like the bracket is going to be. And all right, guys, this has been literally 18 minutes long. But those are my predictions. If you agree with them, amazing. If you don't, understandable. I didn't get too much time. I was trying to get through this because it is getting late, so I didn't get to go too deep into analysis. I'll probably start doing these live because these are long, so, and I do want to go a little deeper into how I feel about them. But yeah, I'm submit this guy. Submit predictions. Boom. All right. Well, what do you guys think? I'm going to be back on Monday to see how I did and to go over basically the series and what happened. All right, guys. So get ready for that video, and I'll check you guys out later.